isn't Petunia just, like, out the wizarding world? Hey, brother. Sorry, hang on, a little raspy. Hey, brother. Something that has always bothered me is how the secret society of wizards is able to exist so close by the rest of the world without people ever truly finding out.
You have risked the exposure of our world.
So here's the premise for today. At its core, the statutes of secrecy seem to live at the very top of the priority list for the wizarding governments, at least between the British Ministry of Magic and also MACUSA in America.
He did knowingly, and in full awareness of the illegality of his actions, produce a Patronus charm in the presence of a Muggle.
Effort is always being applied as to ensure the wizarding populace isn't revealed to the greater world, as it would likely create strife and behavior similar to that of ye old Salem witch trials, which were notoriously enforced by pirates. Yarr! Or it would just act as a burden on all wizards, as Hagrid puts it. Everyone be wanting magical solutions to their problems. Nah, we're better left to ourselves. See, the pirate thing worked trying to do Hagrid, because my Hagrid voice always sounds a little yarry. A pipe bomb! Yeah! Or, Hagrid, y'all could just share magic and muggles could share technology.
What exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
I mean, just think about how much better off wizards would be if they finally just knew. By the way, originally they were chew toys for dogs and babies and were made of such hard rubber that they didn't even float. The real reason here, I think, is that people don't like things they don't understand, and magic is really hard to understand. And we get a really good glimpse of this kind of hostility during Fantastic Beasts, where it appears the Second Salemers in New York City have somehow caught wind of magic and are on a mission to stomp it out. Hear that stomp? I felt like it really shook the camera. That's a three-dimensional effect there.
The people behind this, they are not like you and me. This is witchcraft, don't you see?
But on the flip side of the non-magical world, there is also the other extreme, which is the pure blood mania aspect of the wizarding world. Those who believe that only those with long lineages of magical blood are worthy, and anyone who is not is subject to exile from the magical community.
There's some wizards, like the Malfoy family, who think they're better than everyone else because they're what people call pure blood.
And the hang-up that these purists run into is never on more proud display than the eventual outcome of the Gaunt family, those who stuck so stringently to only marrying amongst a pool that grew shallower and shallower generation after generation. I mean, look at that guy, he turned into a megalomaniac Dark Lord. So there's that. Even dating back to the 1930s and 40s in the wizarding world, we have the publication of the Sacred 28, outlining all of the pure magical families of the day. And in case it's not obvious, 28, not a huge number, meaning that a vast majority of those that we know in the wizarding world have much more, pun not intended, muddy waters when it comes to the heritage, at least in the eyes of purists. Even Ron, who is 12, sees the issue here. It's a disgusting thing to call someone, said Ron, wiping away his sweaty brow with a shaking hand. Dirty blood, see? Common blood. It's ridiculous. Most wizards these days are half-blood anyway. If we hadn't married muggles, we'd have died out. This cracks the door into a very important question that seems to skate beneath the surface of the greater wizarding world. If so many of the witches and wizards that we know and love do not come from pure blood families, then it means that the intermingling between magic and non-magic people is quite prominent.
I'm the half-blood prince.
Yeah, we know, you melodramatic bat. That is a lot of open liability out there for a group of people whose government's primary objective is not letting information about their existence bleed out.
You were seen by no less than 7 muggles.
And while I'm sure plenty of households made up of magic and non-magic members are aware of the risks and would take steps to avoid spilling the secrets, it also feels like there would be instances where things would be, shall we say, less friendly.
I'm half and half. My dad's a muggle. Mum's a witch. Bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
A nasty shock? Sure, I mean, I've been married for 5 years, and if my wife came home today and let me know that she was in fact a real-life witch, even given what I do for a living, even being someone who still thinks my own letter may have gotten lost somewhere along the way. Actually, now that I mentioned it, she did insist upon buying a Ouija board earlier this year, so. But the point is, I'd be pretty gosh darn shocked then I'd want to know literally everything. And can I have a wand? And is it possible that my daughter is a witch too? Does she get a wand? Can we move to Scotland? Should we just leave that in there? I'm losing my voice. Do we need to live in Scotland to be witches and wizards? And what is it like this time of year? Do we all need new rain jackets? Do witches even need rain jackets? Why am I stuck on rain jackets?
Mustn't let you get wet.
And also, what about cleaning? Is that kind of like magic hard, or have we just been doing it this whole time to like keep the secret under wraps? Because I will pinky swear right now to never tell anyone if I don't have to vacuum again. This is gonna be amazing.
We have a witch in the family. Isn't it wonderful?
Yes, yes, it totally is, Petunia. Great news.
I was the only one to see her for what she was. A freak.
Whoa there, Nelly. Coolest thy jets, if you please. Yeah, I'm sure some of y'all see where I'm going with this. While some of us, me, would love to have a witch in the family, this is not a universally agreed upon perspective. So today we attempt to answer, why did Petunia never out the wizarding world? Hey, brother! Okay guys, so I'm using Petunia as our jumping off point because we know the most about her specific circumstances related to the wizarding world. During The Prince's Tale, we get a glimpse back into the lives of Snape, Lily, and Petunia when they're children, and Lily is just starting to realize that there could be something different about her. The flower sat there, opening and closing its petals, like some bizarre many-lipped oyster. "Stop it!" shrieked Petunia. "It's not hurting you," said Lily, but she closed her hand on the blossom and threw it back to the ground. "It's not right," said Petunia, but her eyes had followed the flower's flight to the ground and lingered upon it. "How do you do it?" she added, and there was a definite longing in her voice. From a very young age, Petunia witnessed magic in her younger sister, and her initial curiosity very quickly gave way to jealousy, then morphed through the years into a complete hatred.
Perfect sister being who she was.
This hatred is a particularly curious aspect for Petunia because while I wholeheartedly disagree with her perspective and behaviors, I don't struggle to see how this might not be a more common outcome through time. Just like Snape, who could never let a schoolyard rivalry go, Petunia never lets this hatred of magic go, even when it means mistreating Harry when he is ultimately in their care. Boy, can you imagine if Snape and Petunia had ended up together? We actually made that video. Yo, we need to take a brief pause right there to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Raycon. Okay, so dating back as far as I can personally remember, I have always been terrible with music. Can't remember the lyrics to an entire song to save my life. No idea what a G minor is, or even if it is a thing at all. But for some otherwise unexplained reason, I have always loved audio. Headphones, speakers. Whether it was at my childhood computer, blasting some misunderstood teen bops, or operating under the belief that the subwoofers in my 1996 Isuzu Trooper were cool. You know, like how Bill is cool. It's just like no denying it. He was cool. And let me just tell you that I love these Raycon everyday earbuds. For one, they have active noise cancellation at a far lower price than you can find it anywhere else. Plus, they have amazing sound, and these things are comfortable and actually stay in your ears, which is huge because it is cold here in February, and I am in half marathon training at the moment and on a treadmill a lot, which is boring, but music makes all the difference. And not to mention, it has a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity, meaning you can pair with 2 devices at once, which is a pretty handy feature. And bonus, they come in fun colors. My personal favorite is green, so get 15% off site-wide at buyraycon.com/supercarlin. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/supercarlin. One last time, buyraycon.com/supercarlin. Link in the description down below. I went really hard on this one today. So what would specifically stop her from ever taking this information that she knows to be real and revealing it to the greater world, creating her own version of Mary Lou Barebone's second Salemverse? Well, for starters, it would be counter to the Dursleys' nature. I mean, the literal first sentence of the whole story is, "Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much." The Dursleys don't like anything out of the ordinary. At all.
I'm warning you now, boy. Any funny business, any at all, and you won't have any meals for a week.
And so instead of combating the magical world, they choose to pretend it does not exist.
Will not be going, I tell you. We swore when we took him in we'd put a stop to all this rubbish.
No post on Sunday.
Right you are, Harry.
And that might be a fitting enough explanation. The Dursleys are not of the enterprising, create a revolution, or raise awareness type. They're happy to complain about others violating the water pipe ban during the day, only to just also do it even more secretly at night. But let's just say for a second that they did want to tell the greater world. Would anyone even believe them? Fudge himself brings up this point when speaking to the other minister. The Minister of Magic only reveals him or herself to the Muggle Prime Minister of the day, said Fudge, poking his wand inside of his jacket. We find it the best way to maintain secrecy. But then, bleated the Prime Minister, why hasn't a former Prime Minister warned me? At this, Fudge had actually laughed. My dear Prime Minister, are you ever going to tell anybody? Honestly, it's kind of hilarious that this seems like a sufficient explanation. Fudge is so self-aware about how ridiculous magic is to the non-magic population that he's not even concerned that a different head of state would do anything about this knowledge at all. This theme comes up quite a bit within the wizarding world. For example, when Harry's on the night bus, he asks Stan about how it's possible a triple-decker purple bus could just casually be launching itself through the streets of London, and Stan is utterly unbothered. How come the Muggles don't hear the bus, said Harry. Them, said Stan contemptuously, don't listen properly, do they? Don't look properly either. Never notice nothing they don't.
Muggles? They don't see nothing, do they?
Or when Arthur explains some of the ways that wizards tampered with Muggle objects, he takes it one step further. People just don't reach for magic as an explanation. Why would anyone bother making door keys shrink, said George. Just Muggle baiting, sighed Mr. Weasley. Sell them a key that keeps shrinking to nothing so they can never find it when they need it. Of course, it's very hard to convict anyone because no Muggle would admit their keys keep shrinking. They'll insist they just keep losing it. Bless them. They'll go to any lengths to ignore magic, even if it's staring them in the face. This is part of the problem, to say the least. Even if Petunia was motivated and wasn't perfectly normal, thank you very much, they would still be ramped up against the fact that the average person simply will not accept the idea that magic is the explanation. Even Mary Lou Barebone, as miserable of a human as she is dealing with this very problem when attempting to go to the press to out the wizarding world.
You're missing a trick here.
The hilarious irony is that the wizarding world is trying so hard to maintain secrecy, while the non-magical world is unwilling to accept their existence in the first place. I mean, it's almost like the Ministry is doing nothing. Wait. Even still, and once again, we are dealing with pretty terrible people pretty much the whole way round.
Here you go, freak.
Y'all, we gotta stop throwing that term around. Anyway, so let's assume that you are motivated and not perfectly normal, thank you very much, and not a complete and total butt munch, but maybe just like the Muggle counterpart to an Arthur Weasley.
What exactly is the function of
The new Nimbus 2000.
I'm going through this whole process, trying to figure it out, and finally, it did make me wonder whether or not they even could tell others about the magical world if you are a Muggle and all of those conditions I just listed, and wanted to talk about it more openly. Would there be something magical preventing it? What I mean is similar to what Hermione tells us about Hogwarts Castle itself. So go on, how'd you heart a place like Hogwarts? It's bewitched, said Hermione. If a Muggle looks at it, all they see is a mouldering old ruin with a sign over the entrance saying, "Danger, do not enter, unsafe." Or there's the tactics that are used at the Quidditch World Cup grounds. Again, Arthur explains, Ministry Task Force of 500 have been working on it all year. Muggle repelling charms on every inch of it. Every time Muggles have got anywhere near here all year, they've suddenly remembered urgent appointments and had to dash away again. Bless them. I'll tell you guys what, if he blesses them anymore, he's gonna need to pick up some Mucinex. Yeah, I mean, you get it? Like bless you, sneezing, you get it. The point I'm trying to make is there's a considerable amount of effort placed into the most common instances where a Muggle-Wizard interaction would be avoided. Just to cover our bases, we also know that at the World Cup that Obliviators are working overtime correcting Muggles who have experienced magic, and I think these folks are probably up to this task all the time. This would fall more into the column of Muggles can witness magic, but wizards work hard to make them witness it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, look right here.
The big question I'm trying to answer is, can they be told about magic? Because this idea that information can't be shared really isn't all that hard to understand, because within the wizarding world there exists the all too important Fidelius charm, an immensely complex spell involving the magical concealment of a secret inside a single living soul. The information is hidden inside the chosen person, or secret keeper, and is henceforth impossible to find, unless of course the secret keeper chooses to divulge it. Now, it says single secret, and the primary application we have of the spell has a lot to do with the knowledge of locations, like the Potter's house or number 12 Grimmauld Place, but I've never felt that it was limited to that. Take for example the Sorting Hat. Ron is the 6th Weasley child to attend Hogwarts. Both of his parents are pure-blood wizards that would date back for generations. And he doesn't know how the sorting works. How exactly do they sort us into houses? Harry asked Ron. Some sort of test, I think. Fred said it hurts a lot, but I think he was joking. My long belief is that a vital part of the sorting is not knowing how it works beforehand, and therefore it cannot be influenced by your own personal desires. As such, once you are sorted, you may be free to speak about the hat to those who have also been sorted, but not to those who haven't been. Make sense? So then back to Petunia's not so unique knowledge of the wizarding world. Could she spill the proverbial beans? Well, at bare minimum, we know from the Pottermore archives that she tells Vernon about it. Vernon, as Petunia had expected, was deeply shocked. However, he told Petunia solemnly that he would never hold it against her, that she had a freak for a sister. It's always freak. Every time. However, this could very well be the unique exception where I fully understand the necessity of informing your immediate family about the overall circumstances vis-a-vis magic, even if some people take their time to do so.
My dad's a muggle. Mum's a witch. Bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
Ha! We came full circle. Use that clip twice. This part makes sense to me. We know that Muggle-born and half-blood witches and wizards exist. Their families must be able to be clued in to what's going on. Beyond that, could there be some kind of Fidelius adjacent charm that somehow exists, preventing those who know from discussing it outside of the pool of those who just also already know about magic? Because there is magic like the taboo, or the trace, or Muggle repelling charms. Like, there is efforts that can go into place that can prevent certain things from happening. This is where I almost have to leave the door open for discussion, because Jay and I have debated feverishly about this throughout writing this entire script, because I personally would love to think that if someone approached me and told me that magic is real, that my brain would be open to accepting that possibility. But then we countered with the following, like, how much evidence would you out here in the real world need to personally believe it? Would a video of magic be sufficient? Because it could be doctored or cleverly edited. Like, you know, could you witness it in person? Or is it probably just an elaborate illusion, carefully designed and executed for entertainment? Is this secret world of magic magically kept? Or is it just not that easy to actually reveal? I am dying to know all of your thoughts in the towel section down below. Y'all, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any future Harry Potter action from us. If you'd like to hear more information about the Sorting Hat in particular and how it may be its own secret keeper, you can check out this video right over here. But otherwise, until next time, bye! Isybelle from the future, I'm looking at you in the present and you don't realize it. Oh, you may have just realized it in real time. Yeah, I think you definitely seem to be figuring it out. This was funny to watch on. Ah! There's Ethan. No, I'm not being silly. You're being silly. Yeah. Yes?
These are like the surge protectors making like zappy sounds.
The surge protector's making zappy sounds. Jay's not happy about it.
I don't want to like short out the camera or something.
Oh, Posh, what could go wrong? Why did I say that? Why did I say that?
It's a pipe bomb! Yay!